Okay, my father, welcome to episode 2. How are you, Nurse Barry?
I'm doing great. They're at the post.
He's talking about horse racing. You can see up top, I have a special hat on, cap that I'm going to explain in a second. It says Golden Gear, and there's a story behind it, and we're going to get to that. But first, I'm Michael Golden. This is a series of the Golden Mean called The Father-Son Fortnight. This is my father, Barry Golden.
Hi, everybody.
You see a little sling around me. The last time we did this was Monday morning. It is now Friday afternoon. We did this before surgery. I was in a great mood and had no pain except in the shoulder that was getting operated on. And now you can see the full sling after a rotator cuff surgery. And my caretaking father took me to the surgery and has been taking care of me like a Hall of Famer all week at his house here in Bannockburn. And so first I want to thank you. A lot of people asked about the show we did Monday and enjoyed it. And so I want to give people a little background. Thank you for this week. How do you think we're doing so far? Am I a pain in the ass? Is this
No, it's the fourth day after surgery, and it's been my pleasure to be Nurse Barry.
Nurse Barry? Oh man, it's been great.
I've enjoyed taking care of you, and I think we're day by day we're making a little progress on the pain. So it's Friday. Hopefully by the weekend the pain subsides a little more, but it's been an honor taking care of you, my boy.
You've been amazing. And so I just want to give a little more background, and then we're going to talk about a really interesting success story in my father's life, and also a fascinating sport and subject that is horse racing. But just a little more context. The reason I started doing these is because I didn't know I was going to have surgery till about 10 days ago. And I'm back in Chicago, hometown Chicago, downtown, and my dad is in the suburbs and I need a little help. And he offered to take care of me and have me stay out here. And I stay out here and we hang out anyway. We're very close through ups and downs. And we're not going to talk about all that right now. We're going to talk about the fun stuff. So I thought, let's record a number of these while I'm staying at the house, a captive audience out here. And do this because there's a lot of content from my dad and my life, his alone and ours together and mine, that I've been thinking about and writing notes for a future book. And so since I'm here for at least 2 weeks, I call it the Fortnight, but that's because it sounded good. It's going to be a little longer than that. I thought, let's just record a few of these and have some fun. And a lot of folks really enjoyed your conversation and what you had to say on Monday. So thanks for coming back, and thank you for this week.
You're welcome.
So Golden Gear, I'm going to take you back. When I was 22 or so, I worked at Arlington Racetrack for the summer. And decades before that, when you were, I think, 19 years old, you worked at Arlington Racetrack. And correct me if I'm wrong, tell the story of how you worked for Phil Georgieff and how you went into the PA. Tell me that story.
Well, I was a freshman at Denver University, and I always liked horse racing. And Arlington Park in those days, in the 60s, was amazing. And I wrote to Arlington if I could be a summer intern. And I got a call back, and they hired me to work in the press box, write press releases, and work a little downstairs in the photography department. And I worked there 2 years at Arlington in the summer. And I became to love the world of horse racing. It was fascinating to me, the animal, and also at that time, huge crowds at Arlington, best horses in the United States, top jockeys. And it was really 2 great summers to work there. And as I worked there for 2 years, Phil Georgieff was the track announcer, who was considered probably the best track caller in the United States for horse racing. I became very friendly with him because he wrote a lot of the press releases and helped me, and I learned a lot from him. And then one day he said to me, "Do you want to hit the mic one day before the races?" I said, "Really?" Because I was a radio TV major at Denver University and did the play-by-play for basketball and hockey. And I said, you got to be kidding. I said, I'm not going to call a race. He said, no, no. I want you to give the scratches before the card started, the overweights, which they do. And I go up there the first day. I open the microphone and, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Arlington Park. Here are your late scratches and overweights for today's racing. And I'd go over race number 2, Sally's Pickle, 2 pounds overweight. Race number 4, jockey change, Bill Shoemaker off and Bill Hardtack on. And I'd go on for about 10 minutes, giving all the scratches and overweights. And it boomed all over the racetrack. It was really cool. So that was my little entree into kind of microphoning Arlington Park every day.
And did you at that? I mean, you loved horse racing, and
racing.
You and I both love gambling, and that's a whole other show we're going to do. But did you at that time know at 19 through that experience at Arlington that you one day, if I make some dough, what a fantasy!
That's a great entree. That's a great entree, because those 2 summers, seeing all these fabulous horses and the best in the country stake races, I said to myself, if there's ever a day where I can own a thoroughbred racehorse, that would be one of the great dreams of my life, to be an owner, not to come out and bet races, but actually to own a thoroughbred and learn the business and how you pick horses and sales and claim horses. And lo and behold, I was fortunate enough to make a few bucks when we started Gear for Sports when I was 30. And then the first time I've been in the business 30 years. So this is 2022. So that takes us back to 32 years. In 1990, I made my first claim on a horse where there's claiming races. The tag is 15,000. And if you want to claim a horse in that race, you got to put a ticket in before the race starts and have 15,000 in your account. So lo and behold, I got the claim, and that was my first horse. I think the horse was named Cabranzo, and a big gray horse. And he won a couple of races. I got my 15 back. And then I became friendly with a trainer at Arlington during my working time there. And he was the leading trainer for a couple of summers. And I told him, if there ever was a time where I could afford a horse to buy in a sale, which are, 2-year-olds and 1-year-olds, that would be phenomenal. And so when I was, I think 40, let me see, let's do the math. I'm 80.
That would be.
I was in the business at 1990. So
that's 32 years ago.
30 years.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I sent him down to Keeneland
racetrack
for the yearling sale.
Yeah.
And
for people who don't understand, explain that. What a yearling is. Explain.
A yearling is a 1-year-old horse that is they have a huge sale at Keeneland in Lexington, Kentucky, and it's in September. And I said, all right, I want you to go down and pick me out a colt, not a filly. Colts are the boys, fillies are the girls. Colts can win the Kentucky Derby. It's always your dream if you love horse racing and if you're an owner to win the Kentucky Derby.
Right.
So lo and behold, he goes down there and I get a call. I'll never forget it. He said, boss, he said, we got me a 2-year-old colt. I said, great. And I gave him a limit of 100,000. I said, do not go higher than 100, otherwise I'll kill you. He calls me. I said, all right, what do we got? What'd you spend? He said, well, I had to go a little higher than 100. I said, what? I said, I told you no more than 100. He said, well, we had to go to 115,000. And people around me, when they saw this horse, they were whispering like, holy cow, this is a horse that's, you got to have this horse. Anyway, they nailed the hammer down. I got the horse. His dad was Gulch, one of the great stallions.
Yeah.
In the
horse racing fans know that.
And this was one of his babies. And we bought them. You got to train them as they turn 2. You get them ready as a 2-year-old. And he broke his maiden at Arlington Park. Maiden
voyage,
Day.
Right? First win.
19. Were you there that day?
I might have been.
Yeah. Lo and behold, he wins his first race in front of 20,000 people on Labor Day. I'm in the winner's circle. I said, how sweet is this? I said, this is like a dream. Winning the first race with this 2-year-old I bought. Here we come, Kentucky Derby. So,
So
from
wait,
there,
hold on.
we went to Keeneland,
Hold on
and he
a
ran
second.
in a stake race in October, and he got beat by Tabasco Cat. He was second, and Tabasco Cat went on to win the Kentucky Derby, and it was really a big thrill to finish second. And then in December, they
Wait,
shipped
wait,
the
wait.
horse to
Hold on.
Florida.
Let me stop you for a sec. What year was this?
I think it was around 1990.
1990, the
Yeah,
first. I remember Tabasco Cat in that next race. By the
yeah.
way, before you go on, I want people, just for context, I am in the near the kitchen in Dad's house. He is in his office, and I am not exaggerating when I say that 2 hours ago I said, go up and give me time to take a little nap. And he went upstairs, and because the channels on his television on the satellite changed the channels down where I had my eyes kind of open, and I saw him turn his dish network to the horse racing channel, and I watched the race. All right, Saratoga, New York, where Dad is going next week with my friend Lonnie Nassiter and two other guys. And I watched the race, and then when Dad came down an hour later, I said, when you turned the channel to Saratoga, did you bet that race? And he goes, yeah. I said, who'd you bet? I said, I bet the favorite of 7-2. I said, what was in it? He goes, Sharp Aztec. And I said, did you win? And you said, yeah, 7-2, 100 to win 350. So
Yeah,
Dad and I right now have a bet on the Cubs, minus 1.5. And we've got a bet on 2 guys on the 6 guys on the PGA Tour, but 1 match on the tour and racing. That is what we share, and that is what led to the idea to do the show. Okay, so now take me back to that year. You've loved horses all your life. You've been sports betting all your life, and now you're doing both of them at once, and you're getting ready to buy your second horse on the way to your best horse.
well, Golden Gear. So we named the 2-year-old, the yearling, the 1-year-old. We got to name a horse, and that time I was still working for Gear for Sports, and I put together Golden, my last name, and Gear for Sports. So Michael Golden is wearing the hat, Golden Gear.
That is
and
it.
Being in the apparel business, I made jackets, shirts, hats, sweatshirts. I've got in my closet upstairs an arson of Golden Gear inventory of racing apparel.
I've got 5 different articles, and this is so white, even though it's that old, because I don't wear it that often. It's a collector. I
still wear the jackets, Golden Gear. And to make a long story short, he went on to become one of the best race horses from 6 furlongs to a mile in the country for 2-3 years. We won a race in Kentucky to be eligible for the Breeders' Cup, which is the top racing day of the year. And it was held at Belmont Park in New York. And I traveled to New York to run in the Breeders' Cup, $1 million race. And it was funny, the trainer, there's a post draw where they draw the post positions. And we were in our hotel room in Manhattan getting ready Friday for Saturday's Breeders' Cup. And my trainer calls me, he says, well, we can go home now before the race. I said, what do you mean? He said, we drew the number 1 post out of 13 horses, and the 1 hole in a sprint, 6 furlongs, all the horses cave to the left where you are on the rail. And he said,
you're on the rail.
So it rained about 3 inches Friday night. We get there. The horse threw a shoe coming out of the starting gate. He got bunched, pinched in, and he finished 7th out of 13th. And that was a Breeders' Cup race. But it was an honor to be, whenever you have a horse, it's the biggest day in racing is the Breeders' Cup, other than the Kentucky Derby. If you own a horse and you run the Breeders' Cup, you really have risen to the top as far as owning a wonderful, great racehorse.
And so Golden Gear, by the way, I'm lucky that my dad's included me in this stuff. The biggest sport we share playing together and watching together is golf. He's more into horse racing than I am, although I really like it. And he's taken me to tracks over the years where some of his horses have run.
Remember we went to Oklahoma City? We won a big stake, the Remington Stakes?
Remington Park, right. I was going to say Remington Park.
And we won it, and you were with me. We got the pictures. That was a $100,000 race. We were so excited.
And we've been to Gulfstream Park together in Florida. And my dad, and Golden Gear, I believe it was Golden Gear, not Where's Taylor. It wasn't in the Kentucky Derby race, but it was one of the
Race day.
stakes or allowances.
He ran on a
races.
stake on Derby Day.
And you
I was
basically
there for the
flew
race. It was
10
3
of
races
us.
before the Derby.
You flew about 10 of us to
Yeah,
Churchill
yeah,
Downs
we had a
to
big
enjoy the
party
whole
at Churchill
Derby day.
Downs.
How did that feel, being at Churchill Downs, even in one of the not the Derby, but one of the big races, and bringing your horse and bringing, you know, your
Well, that's the biggest racing day in the country. There's 120,000 people at Churchill Downs, and we qualified for one of the stake races a week earlier, and all the tickets and tables are gone. And I called Churchill Downs on Monday. I said, "Hey, this is Barry Golden. We're coming in. Do you have seats for us?" They said, "Mr. Golden, we know you have a horse running in one of the stake races before. The only seats we have is in the track kitchen." So all of us roll into the track kitchen. We sit there. They set up a table, and the waiters are running.
It was great. It was great.
We had seats.
It was
we
great.
went out and saddled in front of 2,000 people watching us saddle, and the races are on TV. It was an amazing day.
So, you know, so I think that for people that I've been saying a couple words and asking you to define them, because there are a lot of people that don't follow horse racing closely, and even for the ones who do, but don't necessarily own horses, which is it's a tough business. If you call it's a business, but a lot of luck involved. We're talking about racing and betting and parimutuel. So what is it like for people? Describe the experience of being an owner, and also what it costs per year versus how you try to make money from winning the stakes and you know, the allowances.
Yeah. First of all, owning a horse, most owners who own thoroughbreds love the game. Okay. It's not really the gambling. It's the horse. It's the animal. It's the fantastic animals, these thoroughbreds. And I was going to say, owning a racehorse, and the night before you get the racing form and you see the race and you see if anyone picks you. And then the next daily papers, the Sun Times and Tribune, they have the entries the next day, and you rush to get the paper. Has anyone picked us to win the race? You know, it's a process. And then you go to the live race, you're saddling in the paddock, the horse comes out in the track, and there's thousands of people, and you go by and you hear talk like, you know, I like that 6-horse Golden Gear, you know, and it's really a thrill, the process of getting into the race, being there, running. And if you win, it's the highest of highs. And if you lose, it's the lowest of lows. It's just, it doesn't get any worse if your horse runs bad. You've lost money. You've told people, bet on my horse, the horse. But when you win, a great example is I had a horse called Marpal Gordy. Then I had bred the horse. I actually owned the mother. We bred the mother to a stallion. The baby came out, and I never forget, I had some friends in California, and I named the horse Our Pal Gordy. And I'm talking to some guys in the locker room, and I said, you know, I bred a horse, and I named the Our Pal Gordy for Gordy Barrowstein. And I said, would you guys be interested? They said, oh, for sure. We all play golf with Gordy. He passed away before the race. That it happened 2 years later. He runs his first race, Our Pal Gordy at Arlington. I take his widow out, his family, my family. We got 50 people out there. Here comes Our Pal Gordy down the stretch, and he wins by a length, and the people went nuts. The widow, Mrs. Barlstein, starts crying. This is one of the greatest things. My husband, Our Pal Gordy, won, and everyone's going nuts. And that's just an instance of owning a horse and naming the horse for something that's meaningful. And when the horse wins, they take the picture in the winner's circle. I always buy 20 pictures. Everyone buys 2. I buy 20 pictures. I pass them out to everybody, you know. And my office, as you well know, has got, I must have on the wall 30 pictures of wins, stake wins, big races.
I was just going to
It's like
say,
a racing museum here.
I was just going to say, let me elaborate a little bit. Let me paint a better
Yeah,
picture.
yeah.
There are horse racing and horse things all over this house and where you live in California. In
Yeah.
every room, there's paintings, there's photos, there's winner circles, there's all of this stuff. You love it so much. It's like a sports museum, and
Yeah.
horse racing is sort of like the main course. So now you turned 80, as we were talking about last time. You just turned 80 7 months ago, and you now have 1 to 2 horses now and again, right? You don't load them up because,
Yeah,
like
I've
you
cut
said,
back quite a bit.
50 grand is it's a lot per year, right? It's a lot per year.
Yeah, it costs basically 40,000 to feed, training, the vet bills, shipping the horse from one trick to another. You're going to have 40,000 out, so you need to win some purse money to break even.
So do you have any like big goals while you're still in this business? And once in a while,
Well, I
you
bought
were, you were talking to your trainer today earlier about
yeah,
a horse and its workout a few days ago. You know, you
yeah.
clearly
I bought a 2-year-old in May. I bought it in a 2-year-old sale. I haven't bought a horse in like 4 years. I had a horse by my mother's mare, and we had a baby 2 years ago to a great stallion, and the baby didn't make it through the birth. He died, and the mother they saved. So I took it rather hard because the stallion was a real good stallion. I thought this would be a real good horse, and I've been inactive. And finally, this summer, I had another horse ready to run at Keeneland, and the trainer calls me. He says, "This is one of the calls the trainer hates to make." I've sat in my chair. I said, "Oh no." He said, "The horse bowed his tendon. That's a serious injury, and he'll never race again." So now I got nothing. So I said, I called this young trainer that I've watched. I said, "Chris, go down to Maryland and buy me a 2-year-old colt." He bought the horse in May, and the father's name is McLean's Music, who currently has one of the top racers in the country now running. And I named the horse Barry's Music. So Barry's Music is going to run probably next Saturday down in Kentucky at a place called Ellis Park, a 2-year-old race. And I'm excited. That's you got something to look forward to, because in a week you're going to be in the starting gate, and if the horse wins his first race or runs good, you build on that. And it's just you got to love the game, and I love the game and the competition, and it's been a big part of my life the last 30 years.
So going back now, take yourself back to that 19-year-old who was calling the scratches and taking over for Phil Georgieff, the legendary Phil Georgieff, that day on the PA at Arlington Racecourse, which sadly recently closed.
Right.
Here in Illinois, might be the next Bear Stadium. But take yourself back to that kid and that kind of dream. When do you ever think back to that time and think, how did this dream come true? This is pretty extraordinary that I was a teenager and look what I've been doing for 30 years. And
I was 19 when I had the first internship, and I loved the job so much that summer. I had it again the following summer. And then lo and behold, when I was 40, 20 years later, I bought my first horse, and it was a dream, owning your own horse. I said to myself that summer, if I ever can own myself a thoroughbred racehorse, that's kind of my goal. Yeah. And incidentally, in those days, I was a golfer, and Twin Orchard Country Club is like 20 minutes from the races. So Bill Shoemaker, who probably is rated 1 or 2 in the world.
Oh yeah.
I got very friendly with him because I used to be in the jockey's room to get quotes on horses and this and that. And I knew he loved golf. And one day during lunch, I'd go down during lunch hour, we'd be playing ping pong. I said, the Shoe, they call him the Shoe. I said, Shoe, I said, my course is 20 minutes from here. After the races are over at 5. Would you love to come over and play at my country club? My parents belong there. He said, are you serious? He said, when do you want to go? I said, how about next Thursday after the races? Here we go. We drive over to Twin after the races, and people found out that Willie the Shoe was on the front 9 with Barry Golden, 20 years old. We come up to the ninth green. There's about 80 people waiting of us to putt out on the ninth green. It was like, I said, oh my God. And he signed autographs. It was the talk of the club. The shoe's playing with this kid, Barry Golden. We got to go out and see the shoe. That was a true story.
Did he ride Seattle Slew in that?
No. Seattle Clue was
in that.
I gotta think. I'm not sure,
Derby
but he
win.
wrote some. He's had 6.
Yeah, no, he was
original
fabulous jockey legend. And I remember even 15, 20 years ago at your when you lived not far from here in Bannockburn, you always loved the trainers and the jockeys and the guys.
We had parties,
guys,
we had dinners,
at the track, and you had them all over, all these jockeys for a barbecue at your place.
Yeah.
You don't drink, and you had cases of beer for them out there in the backyard.
The jockeys loved, and most of them were Cajuns from Louisiana.
Yeah.
So they would when they were invited to my house, they said, all right, we're going to make real Cajun jumbo. And I never had jumbo. And these guys would cook in these big pots in my kitchen. We'd be out eating gumbo, drinking. And these were the top riders at Arlington and a few trainers and their wives. It was a circus when I had a party for all the jockeys.
Shane Lowry and Suarez.
Friendly with a lot of riders. And one Shane Sellers, who we won the race in Oklahoma City. I kept friends with him, and Shane had a problem with drugs 10 years later, and he almost died, and I was always in touch with him. I said, Shane, you got to go into drug rehab. He said, well, I said, Shane, get in a drug rehab program. I will pay for your rehab. He wrote a book. 5 years later, he overcame drugs, and in the foreword, he dedicated the book to me that I saved his life, which is, I mean, come on. He won a lot of races for me, and I could help him, and he recovered, and we're best friends now. And to write a book and then put me in the foreword, it was it was a humbling experience. It was great.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
That is story. Shane Sellers.
Yes, I remember him from when I was at the track working.
Yeah, he was top rider at Arlington for years.
That's a great story. I think that's the perfect place to end it. And we'll go see the sheet and see who we're betting tonight. And so I say again.
And I'm going to Saratoga next week. Yeah, you said, which is the greatest race place next to Arlington in the world.
Yeah, no, you love that trip. And you're going with one of my good friends, Lonnie Nassiter.
Should we tell when Barry's music is running maybe in a week? Tell our audience to keep an eye out on the race?
You can tell.
All right. We'll keep everyone dated. If the horse is entered next Sunday, we'll let everyone know.
Well, actually, when I put this up online, I'll include some photos of Dad and his horses and that stuff up on the Golden Mean site, so people can take a look. Hey, last word. Thank you for being such a great father and great just taking care of me this week. It's been a rough. I look happy now, but this has been a rough week.
We're getting better every day, and if Barry's music comes in next week, we're gonna have a great day.
Thank you.
That's what's great. You got something to look forward to the next week, my son.
Thank you for being a guest again on the father-son Fortnight on the Golden Mean. I love you.
Good night, everybody. Bye.